Top 10 dark secrets King Charles will be taking to his grave. Starting off with number 10, slow developer. Prince Charles is Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's firstborn child, and though the royal couple and the public were thrilled when he was born, the young prince proved to be a disappointment from the beginning. Constantly sick with sinus infections and known for bursting into tears, his parents thought he might be a slow developer. The New Yorker reported his mother, whom he would later describe as not indifferent so much as detached, worried that he was a slow developer. His father, Prince Philip, thought him weedy, effete, and spoiled. But despite his parents' concerns, Charles proved to be a dedicated, hardworking prince. He was an early proponent of environmentalism and organic farming. He also wrote books on architecture and public service, all while being the longest-serving heir apparent in British history. So perhaps Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were wrong about their son after all. He may not have been the perfect prince they wanted, but turned out to be a hardworking, dedicated heir to the throne. You could say that Charles was ready, even if it didn't seem like at first. On to number 9, Princess Diana's fall during pregnancy. It's not unknown that Princess Diana struggled while trying to find her place in the royal family, and her mental health needs were not met. Diana is said to have thrown herself down the stairs while pregnant with Prince William, according to The Independent. She had morning sickness throughout the pregnancy and also struggled with an eating disorder. In the documentary, Diana, in her own words, she says, "Charles said I was crying wolf, and I said I felt so desperate and I was crying my eyes out. And he said, I'm not gonna listen, you're always doing this to me. I'm going riding now. So I threw myself down the stairs." Luckily, neither Diana nor her unborn were injured in the fall. Though it's difficult to talk about such a traumatic experience, we can be grateful that this incident ended fortunately and that Princess Diana was able to power through and raise 2 beautiful boys. Still, Diana's story is an example of how important it is for pregnant women to have a strong support system, to be taken seriously when seeking mental health support, and to know it's okay to ask for help. It's a reminder that no one is alone in their struggles, not even royalty. On to number 8, Prince Harry's day in rehab. After admitting to his father, Prince Charles, that he tried some herbal substance on numerous occasions and participated in underage drinking, the 17-year-old Prince Harry was sent to a drugs rehab clinic for a 1-day stay, according to the Telegraph. An official at St. James's Palace said it was a way to learn about the possible consequences of starting to take said substance. When Prince Harry arrived, he was greeted by Dr. Eileen Sternberg and a specially assembled team of doctors who gave him a tour of the facility, which included a rehab area where he met with recovering addicts, observed group therapy sessions, and discussed addiction issues with counselors. Before leaving, he also took part in an educational exercise to help him understand the physical and psychological effects of substance use. At the end of his day in rehab, Prince Harry seemed to grasp the damaging potential of substance use and was reportedly thankful for having had such a personal experience. He returned home with newfound knowledge about addiction and its consequences, and appreciation for those who've suffered through it, and a newfound respect for rehab centers and the services they provide. Who knows, maybe someday Prince Harry can lend his voice to helping others learn about addiction too. Number 7, lack of sensitivity. Since Prince Charles didn't exactly like Princess Diana, he wasn't all that sensitive to his teenage bride, especially before their wedding. Before she passed away, Princess Diana spoke openly about her struggles with eating disorders. She explained, "The bulimia started the week after we got engaged. My husband put his hand on my waistline and said, 'Oh, bit chubby here, aren't we?' And that triggered something in me." According to Elizabeth Emanuel, Princess Diana's rapid weight loss made her wedding dress fitting almost impossible. Emanuel explained, "We put it down to nerves, but it did make it incredibly difficult for us to get on with making the dress. We had to keep taking the bodice in and changing the pattern. The last thing we wanted was to make it up in silk, then have to play around with that." Clearly, Prince Charles wasn't aware of the impact his insensitive remarks were having on his young bride. It's sad to think that this might have been one of the contributing factors to Diana's eventual battle with an eating disorder. Thankfully, Princess Diana was brave enough to speak about her struggles and inspire others to seek help with their own mental health issues. It's a reminder that words can have a powerful effect, and we should all be careful to use them wisely. On to number 6, Mother Wars. We all know that Queen Elizabeth keeps it regal and cute. Therefore, after the news of Prince Charles's affair hit the media, his relationship with his mother was strained for quite some time. In fact, until the mid-2000s, the Queen refused to be in Duchess Camilla's presence. However, since then, it seems like the two have put their differences aside and are getting along just fine. It's good to see that the Queen can forgive and forget when it comes to matters of the heart. And after all, she was a queen, not a cold-hearted ruler. Who said royalty can't show their emotions? The Queen proved that there is always hope for reconciliation. Number 5, Tampon-Gate. During their rocky marriage, both Diana and Charles carried on affairs. Prince Charles's most well-known affair was with his now wife and Queen Camilla Parker Bowles. In 1992, a kinky phone conversation between the two, who were both married to other people at the time, leaked. During the phone conversation, the future King of England said he wanted to live inside Camilla's trousers as a pair of boxers or a Tampax. Naturally, the British tabloids had a heyday with the scandalous news. If you ask us, Charles could have used a better pickup line. But, as I say, romance is never easy, especially when it's in front of millions of people. Talk about a pressure cooker. But the rest is history. Charles and Camilla are now married, living happily ever after, and King and Queen of England. We guess that pickup line wasn't so bad after all. Now we just have to wait for the tabloids to dig up some juicy secrets between Harry and Meghan. Until then, we'll just have to content ourselves with the sometimes not so charming words of Prince Charles. And number 4, an affair to remember. From the very beginning, Princess Diana was aware of Prince Charles's inappropriate relationship with Duchess Camilla. But despite Diana's reservations, Charles's current wife was also at their wedding. The princess said in an interview, "I remember saying to my husband, you know, why is this lady around?" And he said, "Well, I refuse to be the only Prince of Wales who never had a mistress." The story of Diana and Charles's turbulent marriage has been well documented in the media. From a public image perspective, Princess Diana was seen as a role model for women everywhere. She could do no wrong, yet behind closed doors, it was apparent that then Prince Charles did not feel the same way about his wife. With the world watching their every move, it was only a matter of time before the truth caught up with them. In 1996, Charles and Diana publicly announced their divorce. To this day, their story continues to fascinate people around the globe and serves as an example of how complicated relationships can be. By 1981, the crowd deemed it time for Charles to get married. Though he had dated Diana's older sister previously, the prince became engaged to 19-year-old Lady Diana Spencer. The duo didn't know each other very well, nor were they in sync. Still, the royals and public felt it was a good match. Number 3, wedding woes. Unfortunately, it was never meant to be. According to Sally Beadle Smith's novel Prince Charles, The Passions and Paradoxes of an Improbable Life, they were too unalike, and on his wedding eve, he wept. He was still in love with Camilla, a woman who was vivacious, irreverent, indifferent to fashion and style, unassuming, and affectionate. Though the couple separated in '92, divorced a few years later, Charles and Diana made history with their wedding. It was televised for 750 million viewers worldwide and hailed as the greatest show on earth. That isn't to say it wasn't without its fair share of drama. There were 2 receptions. The prince was late arriving at the ceremony, and Charles even wore his mother's tiara. The royal wedding day was one of a kind. Who else can say they had their own cartoon character in attendance? That would be Prince Charles and Lady Diana. No matter what happened between them since then, it's hard to deny that their fairy tale wedding impacted the world everywhere. After all, it's not every day you see a prince and princess tie the knot. Number 2, wrong woman. Prince Charles met Camilla in the 70s and fell helplessly in love with her. However, Camilla was not considered royal material since she was known to be experienced. When Charles was away fulfilling some of his naval duties, Camilla got engaged and eventually married to her on and off again beau, Andrew. Though the prince was still friendly with the couple, he was said to be distraught by their marriage and he refused to attend their wedding. But he was not one to give up so easily. After all, his grandmother was a famously devoted wife, and Charles knew that if he wanted Camilla, he had to fight for her, even if it took decades. Eventually, the pair reunited after her divorce, and ever since, the couple has been living happily ever after, much to the delight of royal fans everywhere. Who says grand love stories never come true? And if you're still curious about how Charles and Camilla's romance blossomed, take a look at their engagement portrait, which was featured on the cover of British Vogue in 2005. It's clear to see that the couple are head over heels in love with each other. So if you ever find yourself doubting the power of true love, just remember Charles and Camilla's story. No matter how long it takes, never give up on what your heart desires. Number 1, false image. Since Charles is now King of England, the crown wanted to make sure the king had a certain image in his youth. In fact, despite the then prince's shyness, it seemed like he was quite the ladies' man. However, it was all false, conducted by the press and his team. At the time, the prince's great uncle Lord Mountbatten told Time that the prince was forever popping in and out of bed with a girl. That wasn't the case at all. In fact, the prince would later denounce that image and explain how and why he resented it so much. That's all the tea on Charles today. Let me know what your thoughts are, and as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more news on your faves, and I'll catch you next time on The Rich Life.